Hello there, comic book fans. We're back with another episode of CBFU from the shop, and this is for the week of April 8th. So, we got a lot of good books to read. Well, not a lot of good books.
Some good books.
Some good books, but we got
some sinkers.
We'll get to it. Let's just jump right in. Go ahead, Isaac. Let's give them a good one.
Start with the good one? Okay. This is Deadpool 250, also known as Deadpool 45, aka 45. This is the last of Deadpool. This is the death of Deadpool. They've advertised it, so it's not a spoiler.
Not at all.
And this is, especially the first story, the main story, is really good.
Yeah.
I haven't read Deadpool since, I think, Original Sin. I wasn't interested in it. The art wasn't that great. I didn't care for the story. But if the whole Deadpool run was as good as this first story, I would have still been reading Deadpool all along.
Right. I mean, really after Original Sin, they had Deadpool go down that road where he was like, was it Original Sin? No, it was Axis, where he becomes like a monk and he kind of like loses his charisma and everything, and he doesn't want to kill people anymore. So this is like they just recently brought Deadpool back to form, where he's the merc with the mouth again, just killing people and ripping them to shreds.
He is such a badass in this book.
Seriously.
And I mean, I'm not going to spoil it, but it leads up to some Secret Wars stuff.
The tie into Secret Wars is definitely there. It's definitely there.
I didn't read all the backup stories because there's so many of them. It's a really big book. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a nice, thick book for
definitely worth the money, worth cover price.
But there are a lot of backup stories too besides the main story. And like I said, Deadpool is such a badass in this, and you don't see it much anymore. I think the last time I saw it was that what was the Deadpool?
The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah. This reminded me most of that, I think.
With the art on it too, because that was when had Declan Shalvey was on art, and I don't know who drew the original the beginning story in this, but it was the same artist from after the Good, Bad, and the Ugly, where they had like. I think it's Potion, right? Or what is his name? Oh no, Mike Hawthorne.
Yeah.
Where Deadpool's like a siege of the helicarrier or whatever, and it's basically like aliens with Deadpool as the alien, and it was just good. It was good to see him like ripping people up. And what I liked about this book the most is it gives closure to all of Deadpool's like lingering plot threads throughout the Marvel universe. Like in one of the backups, you see him with Evan from Remenders, Kid Apocalypse. And just him with his wife that he's married, you know, just him with certain S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. There's a story in there for him and Benjamin Grimm. There's a lot. You know, they touch upon everything.
There's a story towards the end where they do Deadpool gets the Infinity Gauntlet somehow, and they do a roast of Deadpool. So it's like Howard the Duck leading a roast with a bunch of different characters, Hulk, Mr. Fantastic, MODOK, all kinds of characters doing like a roast of Deadpool, his life. And it's just really good. I enjoyed it more than I ever thought I would.
Yeah, I mean, for the final Deadpool book, what would you give it?
I'd give it 10 out of 10 Lugos, especially considering what we got coming up.
I mean, if you're a Deadpool fan, this is the perfect Deadpool.
Yeah, no,
there's something in there for everybody.
It's a very satisfying end to his story, and for the whole Dugan, what's the other writer's name? Posehn and Dugan run. This goes back, like you said, back to the beginning of their run. It has the characters from the first Death of the President's arc,
right,
with S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. It has everything. It really ties all of their run together. Yeah. It was really good. I enjoyed it. So what you got first?
Next up, we have the well-regulated militia Rebels from Brian Wood and art Andrea Mutti or Moody.
Andrea Mutti.
Okay.
I think so.
Let's go with that. This is good. It was kind of like watching the History Channel, honestly. What you're getting is kind of like a Patriot style story where it's you're seeing these rebels against the Redcoats, the English during the American Revolution. Very informative, but at the same time, it still has that drama to it. But it's not over dramatic because like they want to keep it like based in reality. But you know, if you're a history buff or if you just like good stories set during like you know, certain periods in American history, then I would definitely give Rebels a shot. I mean, it's the first issue, so you really don't need any type of, you know, backstory going into it. It's pretty self-explanatory. As soon as you jump in, the characters, you're introduced to everybody right away. And, you know, it's something that you should be familiar with at this point. So I would give it a 7 out of 10 Lugos.
Yeah, no, it was good. It's got some very well-formed characters. The art by Andrea Moody is good.
I'm going to keep going with Matei. It sounds better.
I think it's a woman's name.
Yeah, is it? Let's go.
It's a woman, man. But they're all, you can tell like which character is which and everything. And it's very interesting. It's interesting because it takes place in the Revolutionary War, unlike some comics where it's like some kind of twist on the Revolutionary War, like there's some aliens or something like that. Yeah. It's not that. It's very much a historical comic, which is interesting. I don't think you get as much as that as you might. It's not like a genre that's explored
that historical fiction without like it being like steeped in sci-fi.
Yeah, or
horror
something, some
like
twist,
that.
some horror twist or something. So that's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got the good books out of the way, so let's just jump. Go
Okay,
ahead.
this is Convergence #1. Now, before we start, this is by Tom King, which
And-
has done some good stuff,
Yes, Grayson.
and co-written by Scott Lobdell. So there
We
you
know
go.
how you feel about that.
Really, that's all you need to say, is it's co-written by Scott Lobdell, and it's exactly what you would expect from a Scott Lobdell book. This is terrible. I wanted Convergence to be good. I thought after last week's #0 that it was going to be good because it showed promise. It had Ethan Van Sciver art, and it was an interesting thing with all the different Brainiacs and everything. But this is not good. What this is, mostly, is a video game adaptation. That doesn't have a video game. That's what it is, and it's just bad. The characters from Earth 2 are, whatever characterization they had in the Earth 2 book doesn't exist anymore. It must have exploded when Earth 2 exploded, because none of their characters exist anymore. They're blank slates, just saying this terrible dialogue. The villain, Telos, Brainiac's son or whatever.
Baby Brainiac, that's what I
Whatever.
thought. I don't know. Maybe
It's
they're going to rebuild the leads.
It's just an
after that.
awful. Let me give you some example of dialogue. Citizens of my world, I have brought this convergence upon you. Now is the time, the hour is near, judgment is here. It rhymes. It's a Dr. Seuss book. Some of you came to me at a time of infinite crisis. Others were brought here in the final moments of their 0 hour.
Wink, wink.
Whether it was a flashpoint for a time that never was, or of kingdoms that will never come, everyone here was granted life as a result of my dominion. This is a terrible book. You shouldn't buy this. Wait 2 months until DC has books.
And you're reading this, and like as I'm reading the words, I'm like, oh, Lobdell. You can just tell it's his voice. It's so exposition heavy, and you don't feel bad for any of these characters. Their world has essentially been destroyed. They're stranded on this like makeshift reality, and they're all just like, oh, well, I'm gonna fight you because I used to be a writer, and like I don't know, I just can't.
It's the beginning of Mortal Kombat. It's the beginning of any fighting game,
Yes.
like the opening cinematics. That's what this is, and that's all it is.
In one issue, it took them an entire issue. You get nothing else from that. And so I think we're not going to give that any Lugos.
Oh, no, I'll just give it 0 Lugos, just to make it official. But Tony, feel free to tell me how I'm wrong about this. Tell me how good it is.
Moving right on from Convergence #1, we move to Convergence Speed Force #1. Now, certain members of CBFU, Sam, have been looking forward to this book for a very long time because, of course, it is the official return of Wally West, whether it be in the New 52 or just them, I guess, closing out his story.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. It's not Wally West from where we've last seen him. It's Wally West just plucked randomly from the DC history. I guess it's sometime after he's had his kids, obviously. And it is laughable. This book is a joke. From the art to the story, just going on art alone, it looks like a coloring book that somebody sloppily colored in. And you can't follow the story from panel to panel. Like, if you're not reading this and you're just looking at it, there's no way that you're going to be able to tell what's going on. At one point, he goes off to save one dimension of the Convergence from Hawkmen that are attacking, but you never see the Hawkmen attack. Or, you see the Hawkmen standing next to them, and it looks like they're posing for, like their faces are going to get put on the side of Mount Rushmore or something. And then he gets there to help them, and they're already dead. And,
it happens off camera. The whole death of all those characters happens off camera.
And he's running past these other Convergence realities, and you're just, of all the things that they could have Wally West running past, you get this cartoon world where someone named Fastback is there. Is that from Mighty Mouse?
I think it's the Captain Carrot characters.
I don't even know who that is. Yeah. He stops past Bizarro World. I guess that's cool. That was a cool little nod. This book is terrible. I mean, as a Wally West fan, what would you say, Sam? What do you got?
I would give it nothing. I would give it nothing.
So even if you're just a fan of the character of Wally West and the Flash,
but Sam, will you be reading the second issue of Speed Force?
Yes.
It's a glutton for punishment. This is Bernard. Who is it? Tony Bernard? Is that his name? Yeah. What was the last thing he did?
He was doing Green Lantern or something.
He
with
was?
Green Lantern, right?
Oh, right. He was
he's not always based. He's done some good stuff.
Well, this isn't it.
No,
this isn't it. I can't tell you. Don't buy this book. Don't.
Yeah.
Wait for something better.
Yeah. Buy Deadpool. Buy Rebels. Buy something else. Anything else than Convergence. Ant-Man. Hawkeye comes out this week. There's a lot of good books coming out this week.
Saga.
Birthright. These are all great books. They can't. Descender.
Just avoid Convergence. We need to send a message to DC that this is not acceptable.
Yeah, no, and this even more so. This is just awful. Even we give DC a hard time sometimes. Maybe at least Tony definitely thinks so. But this is the reason why.
This is insulting.
It's crap like this.
Because we were told that this was an event when they wanted us to think it was an event, but then when they told us that it's not an event, so
you can do better, DC.